Welcome back, Mobile Home Park Nation. Ferd and here again today with another episode. Today I've got a new guest for us. He's based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, grew up in the real estate business, focuses now on mobile home parks, an owner-operator. He's getting involved in syndication as well. Please help me welcome my guest, Apurva Shah. Apurva, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Ferd. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, man. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself. For some of our audience may not know who you are. Tell us kind of a little of your background and how you got into MHP.
Sure. So, quick background. I grew like you said. I grew up around real estate. We started in the office space, basically doing office to luxury condo conversions. So, did a few projects, growing up, and then thought that was great. But when I moved down to Raleigh, North Carolina, wanted to separate myself from the family business and started like many other investors, started flipping houses, single family houses, started wholesaling them, started building up that capital stack. Coming out of school, coming out of college, didn't really have much. So that was a really great way to transition into what we do now, which is mobile home park investing, as well as that multifamily apartment complex investing.
Great. So tell me what I'm with you. I'm biased. I like the multifamily, I like the mobile home park. What got you into this space other than maybe scaling up? What do you like best about MHP compared to some of these other asset classes you've been involved in?
The returns, hands down. So to jump into that a little bit more, I'll start with my first deal in mobile home park investing, right? So it's a very creative industry compared to, apartment complexes and the more institutional style investing, which I'm sure, mobile home parks are going towards that.
Sure.
But with my first deal, it was a mom and pop owner out of Michigan. My buddy who was investing in single families together, him and I started the business together, and then he said, "Hey, why don't you, we have he found a deal in Michigan." He said, "Okay, there's a uh, it's 550,000 purchase price. I think it was 63 lots, but the seller will finance it. So they'll hold back basically the note, and it was like 10% down." And when I saw that, I was like, "Whoa." How does that even make sense, right? Like that's not a normal thing if you were to do that on a true apartment building. So it just worked out really well. We went through the deal. We there was some deferred maintenance and things that just weren't working out with the seller. And so when we went in, we added our value. We operated pretty well, cut down some of the expenses that just didn't make sense, and then basically flipped the property in about 3 years. So for us, it was all in basically 550,000, and basically sold it for about 1.6. So
Nice.
$1.1 million profit there, which was what really got that hook, especially on that mobile home park investing side of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Mobile home parks, they're a rare breed that you can have massive gains of value due to basic operational efficiencies of increasing rents, decreasing expenses. Obviously, operational efficiencies are one thing, but another one is infill, right? You can increase the number of lots, and then just you can buy it at a reasonable cap rate and sell it at a less reasonable cap rate, and there's a spread there. So
Exactly.
I used to do duplexes, and we just had a couple good transactions here this quarter. And my dad, who's my business partner, he just looked at me, and goes, "Well, how many dozens of duplexes would we have needed for that one mobile home park?" It's like, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, 100. It's just like, and I'm nothing against single family duplexes, and that's how you got to get started a lot of times based on where you're at financially. But man, MHP is just something special as far as the way to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the market we're in right now, right? I mean, we're seeing Class C and Class B apartments, even Class A, right? There's folks that just can't afford to pay, and what I'm seeing on the mobile home park side of it is more recession resilient, right? And continuing down that path of investing, and folks are always going to need a place to live. For us, our business strategy is try to have everything tenant owned homes, but
Sure.
certain markets that of course that doesn't work out. And we have that mixture of tenant owned and park owned homes, but then we try to convert those into rent to own programs, or some sort of other way to help lower that expense ratio, because at the end of the day, a mobile home is still considered personal property, depreciating asset.
Right. And yeah, and not, irrespective of even the asset depreciation or appreciation, the challenge with the park-owned homes is financing. It's hard to get good debt on personal property, and then it's hard to get good debt on land if you own too much personal property on it. So I'm in the process of a Fannie Mae refi right now, and I've got to get my park-owned home count. I got 5 more houses to move, and I've got to sell 4 out of the 5. I can't lease them because otherwise I'm at too high a count. So just okay, I know how to do that, and just make it work. But it's definitely a factor when it comes to financing, and as you know, with all real estate, debt and leverage is key to getting the outsized returns relative to Wall Street or a lot of other asset classes.
Sure, exactly.
So what tips and tricks have you learned that you can share with us? And maybe you got any horror stories as well. You told us kind of how you found the industry, why you like it, but what are you doing that sets you apart, or what have you done that you wish you wouldn't do and you won't do again?
Sure. So operations has been the core competency for our team. Just a real quick introduction for my team. It's we're Jay's Properties LLC, and basically what we have kind of I guess the core values is operations of taking value add properties that just aren't working for the seller or losing money starting day one, but basically doing complete conversions, whether it be renovation on park owned homes or converting them into rent to own, or just really cleaning up the park with and raising the rents and bringing it back all to market value. So that's our core. Some of the deals that we've done, most of them are in North Carolina. We like major metro areas, right out of Raleigh, North Carolina, MSA. So we have properties in Zebulon, North Carolina, Lewisburg, Spring Lake. Those are the core areas that we like to invest in. But what I really recommend for anyone who's trying to go after this asset class and try to continue to invest in mobile home parks is don't believe what the seller really gives you. Make sure you're doing your own due diligence. I mean, I've run into time and time and again, almost every single deal that we've gone after, there's just something that doesn't line up, whether it be the financials or the septic tanks or the well, or just, you really need to do your due diligence. I mean, it's easy to just call an inspector for a single family house and just say, hey, tell me what's wrong with the house. Right. But then with a mobile home park, there's just so many little things that you want to probably, you want to look at the wells, you want to look at the infrastructure, you want to look at the homes, and since there's multiple units, typically we purchase 20 plus units for the home for the park size of it. Sure. And with that being said, right, you really walk the park, really understand the financials, especially when it's a mom and pop owner, right? A lot of times the spread's just not there. They have like receipts and like paper all over the place, and they're not really able to gather it all. And also they don't have a proper tax return that we can really look at. So the big thing for us has just been spending the time creating the models and the processes around doing that due diligence.
No, I agree completely. I mean, I think Ben Franklin said diligence is the mother of luck, right? So it's something to be said for doing it right. We've got a big checklist we go through on every single property. And I jokingly say, don't trust and verify. Don't trust anything from the sellers. You get in the business long enough, you're going to find and hear every story under the book. I kind of chuckle because I was telling somebody last night, I'm about to close on a deal this week in a park in Illinois. And I'm completely trusting the seller, which is outside my norm. But the reason is I tied the park up, I don't know, 8 months ago, and they told me there were some problems. I found some more problems, and I verified everything, and everything they said was true. And they were a father-son team, and my dad and me were a father-son team. We bought a park half a mile away, and then when we ended up dropping that contract for other reasons, but it went around the block for 6 months, and now the price has become sensible. And he called me back and he said, hey, it's yours if you want it. I was gonna accept this other guy's offer. I was gonna sell or carry, but I know you can deliver. So he gives a handshake deal. I don't even have the contract. We're signing the closing statement with no contract. Like, wow, against lawyerly advice. But this guy's just like, I'm not doing a contract. Show up with the money and you're good. I was like, and he paid for a survey, and he was like, and I'm literally trusting this guy because I verified stuff previously, and I verified stuff now, even some too. But and the pricing is right too. The risk reward analysis makes it okay. But
yeah, I mean the big thing for us, I mean, if you're buying right, and whether, I mean, if you have investors or if you have other people's money in it, if you're buying right and there's still some room to work with, I think that's a win-win. Right? I mean, I'm seeing folks, especially in Raleigh, right? Like there's institutional money coming in. They're buying at like 3 cap and 4 cap, and I'm like, how does this make sense? And especially for my side of it, right? Like I'm not getting debt that's basically 0% interest or whatever that is, right? I'm definitely not an institutional buyer, but on the flip side of it is, making sure that we find opportunities that do make sense. We're seeing folks that have lost money just because they're not doing due diligence, and then they come to us and say, hey, we're trying to sell this thing, just offload it, and because we didn't, I guess, in my opinion, they didn't do their homework to figure out what was actually happening.
Absolutely right. I'm under contract on one right now in Nebraska, and the people have only owned it for 2 years, and they were investors. It's like, well, why are you doing this? Like, well, we didn't really run the traps on this very well, and they were halfway across the country, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of hard to manage it, so they're going to sell it at a loss, and it's unfortunate. I have the biggest example I've run across. I bought a park in Kansas City about 3 years ago, and it's got 93 spaces, and there's 117 pedestals. And I said, what are those pedestals? Those are the expansion pedestals. That's for the expansion. And I talked to the city about it, and the city goes, oh, yeah, you can't use that expansion. I said, well, why not? They said, well, we were driving by one day, we saw all those pedestals and asked the owner, what are you guys doing? He said, well, we're putting in RVs because they're really close together. You can probably only got to limit the extra 20 or so down to like half, like 10 or 13. And the city said, oh, we don't allow RVs in this town.
Oh, wow.
And the then owner goes, what? He goes, did you get permits? And the owner looks at the contractor. You got permits, right? I thought you were in charge of permits. $474,000 of electrical upgrades to rerun the line of electrical, water, sewer, and they never pulled it. And they never pulled a permit. And it was worth. And it was worth.
Talk about a horror story.
Yeah, unbelievable. And I'm like, wow, you guys literally didn't do your due diligence and read the code or ask. They didn't even ask city planning or permitting. Like, so I felt bad for those guys, but I'm like, I can't give any money for that. It's not worth anything to me. It's in the way. I got to mow grass around those things. So they have negative value. So unless I can change the city's mind later, which is going to be pretty tough. But anyway, yeah, due diligence is key. Do you have any horror stories of your own in your career here?
Yeah, we're so we've had some learning lessons, and we're trying to make sure this doesn't become a horror story. But yeah, I'll certainly share it. So we have 76 units and 76 lots in Lewisburg, North Carolina. This property has a pond in the, it's a very small 1 acre or maybe even smaller pond in the back.
I know where this is going.
Okay, yeah. So for us, a pond, a little lake, whatever it is, like, no, we didn't care about it. We looked at it, we said, okay, there's not going to be an issue. We didn't really pull any documents from the city, and because our other properties, they have ponds, and no issue, especially here in North Carolina. But then a few months ago, the dam safety folks in North Carolina send us a letter saying, hey, your dam, this pond is basically classified as a dam, and it is considered high hazard. So now they want us to do an inundation study, an overlay mapping, and then basically want me to get like this not just an environmental, it's like a dam safety engineer to classify this half an acre to an acre pond, saying that it's not going to destroy a bunch of homes and other things if this pond just breaks, like if something happens to it and it floods all these homes.
Did you? That's not where I thought it was going. That's great. I thought you were telling me, yeah, and then it turns green in the time. I thought it was a lagoon, and you didn't realize it was a lagoon. That was really bad.
Oh no, that would have been even worse.
Yeah. Did you get a phase 1 environmental in that part? Did that come up? Was that an issue in there? Or did you not?
It wasn't. We didn't need to get one. I mean, it's been a mobile home park ever since, day one. It was like 1900s or something like that, where the seller's dad, his grandpa, or basically like he's like this. It's been in the family line for so long, where they owned it and they built this 76 unit lot, right? And this pond's just been there. They've never had an issue. The sellers they're great guys to work with, and it's super easy. I mean, we got the survey, we got all the items done, but I don't even think, even if we did it phase one, I mean, on the environmental side of it, like, I don't think it would have caught anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Sometimes they catch those as because it's they call them a recognized environmental condition, but
Yeah.
obviously it's not hazardous by its nature. But for example, a well that you drink
Yeah.
out of, a drinking well will fail in phase one, or at least be called out in phase one because by its nature, anything that goes into it goes downward and goes into what was at least at one time a drinking source. So I wondered if a pond had some similarities on that where it would be flagged, but and then if there's and then the but anyway, that's a tough one, man. Yeah, pond.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd never think that, okay, this is going to be a major issue, or possible major issue. I mean, this thing's pretty small. It's not really next to any homes. Even if it, started raining, or if there was a little hurricane or anything like that, it's we don't see an issue with it, because it's basically there's still an elevation difference.
Right.
The pond's basically down below, and then our homes are up top. So
Man, lessons learned, right?
lessons learned, yes.
That's
And
tough.
now, yeah, now for us, I mean, for all the properties that we have, that the ponds on, we're like, well, let's scatter. Let's make sure, everything's just, it's clean, it's clear. There's no issue. It's not considered a dam.
Yeah,
uh,
that's
yeah.
thanks. So that's a good one. What else do you got for us to provide? Anybody other lessons or tips you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, me being in that I have a W-2 role, right? So I think that's been managing the W-2 side of it, having that day job, and then also investing in real estate. I mean, that's huge. I mean, a lot of listeners, whether it be your listeners or other folks that are just interested in real estate and mobile home park investing, I think that's huge, right? I mean, it's very difficult doing both. But I think my biggest recommendation to folks that are interested in real estate, starting out, whether it be just investing in mobile homes specifically or mobile home parks, is really, the skills that you're learning in the real estate side are certainly transferable to your W-2 role. Whether you're just starting out, or you're trying to be a real estate professional and do this full time, I think both sides are certainly very, very, the skills are transferable. So for me, I'm an engineer. I'm a product manager at an engineering firm, and I'm learning the technical ins and outs of certain operations, voice of customer, and I'm actually transferring that to real estate. Trying to negotiate these contracts with our contractors, and understanding the engineering behind the electrical and all that side of it with these homes. And then from the backward side of it, for mobile home park investing, where me being able to negotiate, I'm actually able to save our company significant dollars with our different vendors that we're utilizing.
No, that's cool. No, I think that's great to take skills from your prior life or from the current life at a different job and cross train. I mean, cross pollinate each other. That's great. I mean, I went a couple of years there. I didn't practice any law. I was doing retail development, but I used my legal skills on a regular basis, on a daily basis, and then vice versa. My negotiation skills, my market analysis, my business optics, things like that. They cross over, right? So at MHP, you get lots of opportunities for personnel management, project management, process management, financial analysis, risk mitigation analysis, legal analysis, marketing, sales. I mean, there's just a whole myriad of operational tactics and strategies and processes that are necessary to run these little cities. That's what I call them. I mean, this is the operations business. I'm running a city. Some is a city of 20, some is a city of 200, but I don't know of any mobile home parks that are 20,000. But I used to work in government. We'd run a county, and I was in administration, and there's a million little things to do. And mobile home parks kind of like that, but the limited budget.
Exactly.
They don't have the
That's
power to tax. Or
but you have the power to bill water back and
yeah, a little
bill, yeah,
bit.
depending if you have the wells.
I did look at a mobile home park one time that was actually individually plotted estates, and it was its own municipality of like 90. And I was like, I could literally vote myself mayor and impose the power to tax. It was
Wow.
unbelievable.
Wow, 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 wow.
So and it,
Was it like 90 specific parcels or
yep,
like, wow.
they
Okay,
had their own,
so
they
the,
had their own water system and stuff. It was crazy.
yeah,
They had
yeah,
an
I
owner that,
imagine the title work on that is
yeah, and I never
tedious.
got that far. I was super jazzed about it. It was a nice location, but uh, because they're individual parcels, the seller had been selling some of them for like 80,000 a piece to individuals with a home on them. So
Oh
when you
wow.
want to sell the last 60, you wanted some crazy number. I was like, well, I want to buy it as a park. It's not a
Yeah, yeah,
park, so
yeah.
just
Trying to buy
basically buying
80,000 a
it.
pad is quite
So what
crazy.
I'm interested in anything else from like your engineering background and project management that you can share that helps make your MHP operation more efficient.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, especially learning that single family housing, the flip, fix and flips, we actually gathered a good amount of, we built a lot of relationships with these contractors. We actually use those contractors on homes that we need renovated. Yeah, at the end of the day, right, these mobile homes are, you're not trying to put granite countertops and, crazy things in them, but at the same time, they still have HVAC and things that you still need um, to fix or to replace. So for us, I mean, that was really big. I mean, a lot of our parks, especially the ones that had deferred maintenance, we had to replace HVACs or just fix them up. There's floors that are just destroyed, and the folks that were with us back in the day, they're here with us today, trying to work through a lot of the issues that we have on these different homes. From the engineering side, I mean, with the electrical engineering side, I mean, that's my background, electrical engineering, robotics. Um, Great to have, but at the same time, I'm not using that every day by any means on the mobile home park side of it. But a lot of the skills are still transferable, right? I mean, you got to get creative when you're trying to do your due diligence and put together these packages, right, for the sellers and put together these deals. So for us, I mean, we're still growing. We're looking to continue to add units to our portfolio. Right now, I think we have about 200 and a little bit more than that, and then hopefully over the course of 2021, looking at about double that. So um, it's
Right.
still organic growth, but we're hungry. We're out there. We're trying to figure out how to continue to keep growing.
No, that's great. And I mean, I tell people a lot of times, being a smaller operator, you're going to have some advantages from being nimble. You don't have the bureaucracy. You don't have to go through the, just the channels of command, and you can react faster, and you can react. Sometimes you can compete with the medium-sized players than the large players. So that's great. Anything else before we go you want to share, or if not, where can people find you?
Sure. So definitely take a look at our website. It's jaysinvestments.com, JAYSINVESTMENTS, investments.com. And then feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, Apurva Shah, APURVA Shah, SHAH. Yeah, looking forward to connecting and seeing how I can add value.
All right. Thanks, Apurva. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ferd.
Bye now.